Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to be talking about a massive shift in global power. But this isn't a story about armies and battlefields. Nope. This is about what's happening in obscure mines and giant refineries, the places that are quite literally fueling our entire modern world. For generations, we've always measured a nation's strength by its biggest, most visible symbols of might, things like aircraft carriers. But what if I told you the new currency of power is something you could actually hold in your hand? We're seeing this incredible shift from a world run by military force to one controlled by something way less obvious: access to critical minerals. It sounds like a riddle, right? How on earth can a simple rock be more powerful than a multi-billion-dollar warship? Well, that is the exact question we are going to unpack today. And believe me, the answer is already redrawing the map of global influence as we speak. So what this all points to is a brand new definition of power. We are really seeing a strategic pivot away from that traditional military muscle and toward the control of something called economic choke points. So what in the world is an economic choke point? Well, think of it like this. It's when one country gets such an iron grip on a vital resource that it can basically turn off the tap for everyone else whenever it wants. This isn't just about business competition. This is about having the power to control the entire supply chain, from the ground all the way to the finished product. So how did we even get here? Let's take a look at the actual strategies China has used to build up this incredible dominance. The source material we're looking at points to several really key pillars of control. And here's where it gets pretty wild. Just look at the sheer scale of this. Take a look at this chart. China controls somewhere between 85 and 90% of the world's rare earth refining. I mean, let that sink in. That isn't just a competitive edge. That is a near monopoly on a process that is absolutely essential for all modern manufacturing. And why does this matter so much? Well, because these aren't just some obscure elements you memorized on the periodic table. Rare earths are the fundamental building blocks for pretty much every piece of advanced tech we use every day. I'm talking about everything from the smartphone in your pocket to the super sophisticated guidance systems in our most advanced defense tech. But hang on, this strategy goes way beyond just these so-called rare elements. A second major pillar of control involves redefining materials we always just thought were pretty common. Get this, silver. Yep, the same stuff used in jewelry is now officially considered a strategic material. Why? Because it plays a completely indispensable role in modern electronics and all sorts of new technologies. This dominance has created what a lot of investors are now calling the great economic bottleneck. And the really crucial thing to understand here is why this is such a long-term problem, and why other countries can't just flip a switch and catch up overnight. It's the obvious question, right? If these materials are so critical, why can't the US and Europe just go out and build their own refining facilities and break free from this dependency? Well, the answer comes down to some very real and very stubborn hurdles. As you can see, there are really three huge roadblocks here. First, the amount of money you need to even get started is just astronomical. Second, these aren't weekend projects. We're talking years, sometimes even a decade or more, to build and get these facilities up and running. And third, the refining process itself comes with some serious environmental issues, which creates these huge regulatory and political battles. This quote from our source material really just nails it. Rebuilding this infrastructure is not a cheap or quick fix, creating a long-term bottleneck. The point is, this isn't a problem you can solve with a single new policy or a quick injection of cash. It's a deep, structural issue that's going to be with us for the long haul. Okay, so let's pull all of this together and talk about why it actually matters to you. Because this is not some abstract geopolitical game. It has profound ripple effects across the entire global economy, and it even trickles down into our daily lives. So who's most at risk here? Well, as this slide shows, the list is basically a who's who of modern innovation. The whole tech sector, from everything from our laptops to the servers that run the internet, our defense industries, which absolutely need these materials for next-gen weapons. And this is a big one, the entire green energy transition. We're talking solar panels, wind turbines, electric vehicles. All of it is heavily dependent on these exact resources. So the takeaway here is crystal clear. This whole situation creates a massive, long-term strategic risk. It's a huge headache for investors who are trying to navigate these incredibly volatile supply chains, and it is a top priority concern for national security planners who are now staring at a major vulnerability for their countries. So we end up right back where we started, but now with a much clearer picture. In a world that's built less on steel and gunpowder and more on microchips and green technology, we have to start asking a new question. Who really holds the power? And the answer, it seems, might not be found in the size of your army, but in who controls the very materials that are building our future.